So again, continuing on that, let's go to the higher education. But prior to that, let me clarify the question which you had. The madam had raised this question that research intensive and teaching intensive. The document which says that those who are teaching giving equal emphasis to both. But and after that, this language which I have given is for teachers. The document says that it is for teaching intensive. She is correct in that. That's why I told you are correct. But research intensive जो discussion में था, even though document is slightly mixing up the things, you will be doing teaching, but where research will be more emphasized. Maybe if I give you a crude example, maybe IIT system where the IIT systems are having a good undergraduate and master degree teaching, but again their research is also quality research. If that way, if you see ISC Bangalore is the best example, is a research intensive institute. Whereas there are institutes who are delivering good NIT system. They are very good in teaching, but not good at research. This in a present situation, if I compare, though it is not exactly mapping with the NEP 2020 concept, but to give you an example, NIT system, they are very good at teaching, but not all NITs are very good research institute. They are research funding, this, that, if you see. Whereas if you go to the ISC Bangalore, lot of research funding. So they are basically research intensive type of situation. So the document, the quiz question which was there, in fact, the option was not there for you. Now I was just saying that there is no right answer for that to Kamal. You give grace mark to everybody there because that answer which we have given, that language fit into the colon stage, that is teaching incentives, significant teaching, and also more emphasis on teaching and significant research, that is teaching incentive. She was right. This madam was right in that way. So when it comes to the higher education, they talk about quality in the system, whether it is degree awarding colleges or the universities. Quality is the primary thing. Individuals study more specialized areas, then developing holistic individual set skills, and also has to have a contribution for the society. They should be concerned about society. Their knowledge should be utilized for the society. These are the challenges. Challenges I will not discuss because it is known to all of us. So I'll skip because it is in document. That's why I brought into your picture. 9.2 section talks about the education existing education challenges. So this you can see the document and a lot of things are there in that. Then the 9.3 of the NEP document, it talks about higher education key challenges, changes needed. If you see this, they talk about multidisciplinary undergraduate universities moving towards faculty and institutional autonomy, revamping curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, student support. Already I have discussed these things. Student support will be discussed slightly more. Career progression based on teaching, research, and service. That is again for teacher. This career progression based on teaching, research, and service. This is for the teacher. They have discussed that certain things should be planned in a proper way, that the teachers are also motivated, energized, and periodically they should be given that type of benefit. Then they talk about a national research foundation and administrative academy autonomy, and ODL also we have discussed. So there are certain things. Quickly, I'll go through the NEP document because school level you may not be interested, but since it is said that school cannot be isolated from higher education, so there needs to be a, so this is basically a ladder. We will be climbing to go to the higher education. So it may not have a direct relevant of your involvement in school education, but you cannot also keep a blind eye for the school education. So therefore, it is required school level documents also to be seen. What they are talking that all level of schooling from pre-preliminary to grade 12, this universal assessment, everybody should have access to have at least preschooling to your grade 12. That is what is intermediate science, which you say. Ensuring quality early childhood care education for all children between 3 to 6. Because what they are telling, the full brain growth takes place between 6 years. तो वो भी क्विज क्वेश्चन आपको दिया गया था. So therefore this formative years of 3 to 6 years, they are very particular that our education system must lead to more creativity, innovation, and exploring a lot of new things. At least up to class 6, they should be given that type of freedom, and which is not happening. In fact, a lot of changes come, but there was a time when my kids were small. The big load was so much. A lot of things they used to carry. So at least now it is reduced to large extent. Especially the better city, it is like a gaming way of learning rather than going with a lot of books and copies, which my kids they faced during that time. Then new curricula pedagogical structure for this particular structure, which is defined 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So obviously you need to have a create a different type of curriculum and pedagogy interlinking them. No hard separation between art science, already we've discussed, that is also required in school. Establishing national missions on foundational literacy and numeracy, and emphasis on prompting, multilingualism, and Indian languages, the medium of instruction until at least grade 5, but preferably grade 8 and beyond with mother tongue. So, mother tongue, there is a region like if you see people like me, when I in Orissa, our system, if you are not in a convent education system, you read in a system in Orissa school, everything in Oriya, two subjects, two paper you get in English. The day you pass 10th, when you enter in this college, everything is in English, only one paper of mother tongue. So when I used to get a physics question or physics subject, I used to first convert it to my mother language, then try to understand. And by the time I understand, the time period is over to solve so many things. And therefore, the convent students, they used to better performing in entrance and competitive examination. We used to really, even though we are knowing better mathematics, better numerics compared to them, we are unable to deliver in that limited time, because first you have to translate that English to your mother tongue, then you have to visualize that, again come back to solve. But if the medium of teaching itself is mother tongue and the books are available, then already we are well versed and we can conceptualize. क्योंकि घर में जो बात होता है, even common thing also are talk in mother language में, तो we are in a position to understand in a better way. तो कहीं ना कहीं this document I fully support, though it is in a bottleneck stage at this stage कि कौन उड़िया में इंजीनियरिंग किताब लिखेगा, कौन हरियाणा में लिखेगा कि पंजाबी में लिखेगा. But once it is done, if you see the Russian or Germanese or Japanese, they have their own language books and the understanding will be better. So therefore, mother tongue not discouraged. We must try to. Yes, at the same time, English is a universal language, because if I go to US and talk in Oriya, nobody will understand me. So therefore, I should be in a position to also have those type of language in my hand for communication point of view. But in my working point of view, I should be in my own language. That is what they also emphasize. In fact, I have seen many people who are they read in their own language when they come to US, because I was also in US. I have seen they perform well because they know English, but they always analyze, and when they meet their own language people, they will discuss in their own way. This Chinese always will talk in their Chinese way, and they perform in right kind of way in research. So
I have a small breakout over here. Like if we are talking about Germany or China or Japan, they just have one national language. But India is having 12 around scheduled languages and local regional dialects. So that way, if we totally relying upon this document, if everybody is going regional, then we won't be having a choice for a working language. Let's forget about English. Let it be Hindi. But then we are having no option of a working language. Like in today's scenario, if anybody from Punjab or Haryana or say North broadly wants to get admission in Maharashtra or Karnataka, they are able to pursue because the professional or working language is English. But what if Punjab is teaching in Punjabi, Haryana, and Hindi?
This is a this is a very valid question. Now I'll put you in another way. The IS officers. Suppose a Odia person becomes a Haryana cadre IS. He's dealing in your language. He talks your language. So how there? This is a working way. He's going through the document. He's performing. He's communicating with the local people. Even a Haryani who has gone from this place in Odisha cadre IS in a very rural village, if he is placed in initial career of service, he has to talk to those people. He doesn't know anything. So they have to, and they are trained. So it is not that for a communication point of view or a working point of view it is very difficult. It is possible. So that connectivity is possible. Therefore, what they are emphasizing, that formative years, when we are in the early stage of understanding, creating creativity, innovation, we should not go to a foreign language where our understanding is very less. And that is the reason why it is emphasized that at least mother tongue or multilingual approach up to class grade 8, they are emphasizing. Beyond that, also in higher education, they are telling, because when you enter into the research, but your question, like if I am in Haryana and I am going to Maharashtra, I will not be accepted there because I will not be in a position to get into the language. But while doing so, it is not telling that you cannot have a, that is the word is multilingual. When you are having a multilingual approach, and if you see the people who are multilingual, uh, I don't know, I may be wrong, I feel they're more intelligent. My reading with them, that they capture this situation very well and they deliver very well. Maybe the multilingual is helping them. In my interaction, in many cases, I have seen that these people who are talking multiple languages, they, their moves are more smarter than people like us who are limited with languages. So that advantage they'll get. So definitely there will be initial bottleneck which you are talking.
Student, like, just a quick
If you take northeast, if you see northeast, even in the same place, the one tribal language will not be understandable to the another language, because I have served in northeast, so I know that. So the common language there, if you see, is Hindi or Assamese to a certain extent in northeast region. So therefore, cluster wise, if you look into this, it is possible. If you go to the eastern side, if I consider the Assam, Bengal, Orissa, if these three eastern side, we understand each other language. Script wise, it is different. Like Bengali and Assamese script are almost all same. They can go. Oriya script has completely different, because we have a this Sanskrit way of version. So we are more towards like the South Indian. They write our language are also like that more. But when it comes to the understanding of South Indian language, Oriya people cannot understand. Maybe their letters are visible to certain extent similar to them, but we cannot understand their language. So, but the Andhrites, Telangana, Kerala, Tamil, Karnataka, more or less they understand each other and their Telugu. So, say Andhrait, I told that Telugu. So those, so cluster wise, it is possible. So we don't have a much bottleneck in the country. Luckily, like you gave a very good example, like German, Japan, so we are also having those clusters. If you see northern zone Hindi is a common thing. So it is very well can be connected. So there will be initial certain this type of difficulty where English is bridging us. Maybe we will find a way out to overcome this. But that in long run will benefit our Indian way of thinking the system, because the Maclellan approach will not work. It is leading to a different type of concept also together. So anyhow, I will not come to that topic. It will lead to another.
ChatGPT helps us.
Yes, the technology will help during that time. So a lot of translation, because if you see NEP 2020 is talking about a translational institute. So this translational institute is meant for this type of things, bringing interpretation and translation to the content. You are right. This chat GPT type of
So
situation will help.
CCI says that now the Supreme Court judgments will be available in all the 12
All
Supreme
the
Court
scheduled
cases.
language. Yes.
Yes, recently they have said.
Mm. Things are moving in that direction. Then this is setting up a new national assessment center, and this is what they are also assessment also centrally they are talking about equitable inclusion education, separate gender inclusion fund, robust and transparent processes of recruitment of teachers, um, ensuring availability of all resources through school complexes and clusters, setting up state school standard. This triple SA is very important. Setting up a state school standard authority, especially create the benchmark, monitoring, all those things will happen by them. Exposure of vocational education in school and higher education, because that is what 5% needs to be. When it comes to the higher education, which is our focus area, it has to be more holistic and multidisciplinary in nature, having the option of multi-entry, multi-exit. NTA, that is the National Testing Agencies, will be the authority to go for the entrance type of situation. Establish academic bank of credit. Already we'll be discussing that in detail. Setting up multidisciplinary educational research merus. Setting up national research foundation. Light but tight regulations. Single overarching umbrella body for promoting higher education. So there will be four verticals. What they are talking about is Higher Education Commission of India, HECI. The bill, once the bill is passed, the HECI will be in place, and once the HECI is coming, there will be four verticals. The first vertical who will talk about the standard setting. Second vertical will give the funding. Third vertical will be the accreditation. Fourth vertical is the regulations. So that is the way there will be four vertical which will be controlled, which will be under the umbrella of Higher Education Commission of India. And the draft bill, almost all the bill is ready. I don't know when it will be placed to the parliament. We are expecting that last winter it will come, but it didn't come. But any moment it may come. So once it is done, then we'll be under this type of four verticals, which will be working in the higher education system. Then GRE को बढ़ाने के लिए तो they are looking forward to quality online education. So that is international education is there. Professional education will be integral part of higher education. Then establishing national mission for mentoring and creation of autonomous body, the National Educational Technology Forum, NETA. The National Educational Technology Forum now presently is headed by Professor Sahasar Budhe, who was our ex AICT chairman. You might be knowing that he was two tenure AICT chairman. He is now heading the NETA. This is National Educational Technology Forum. The forum is more towards how the different technology can be used to enhance the teaching learning, assessment, and also helping in governance and administration of the educational institute. So he is the man who has been given a big job, like what we are conducting in 5 days, a bigger version of that countrywide, what thing will be implemented for teaching, learning, assessment, administration, transparency, regulations, implementation, all those things are controlled by this NETA. It is a technology forum, which, and Professor Sasa already has taken responsibility and he started working on that. So if you see appropriate integration of technology into all levels of education, that is what is the roadmap they have to create, and they are working on that. So this is one such, and miscellaneous. If you see there is 4 years integrated state specific, subject specific, Bachelor of Education, then 100% youth adult literacy, multiple mechanism with check and balance, so that the commercialization higher education should not happen to a very large extent, and it should work like a non-profit organizations, and center state will work together to reach at least 6% GDP as possible as quickly. Strengthening central advisory board of education to ensure coordination to bring overall focus on quality education. So if you see almost all places they talk about quality, 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 and quality cannot be possible without fixing benchmark, without monitoring that, and also making remedial action on that. So therefore, if you see, this is a completely closed feedback loop, because all of you are engineers, so you know that it cannot be open-ended system. It has to be a closed system, but that is the language which they talk. Regulatory bodies should create a situation light and tight. Tight means your closed loop. Light, it should not be like too rigid where nothing is possible. So that is also to be avoided. So it has to be a light and tight system, and that is what the NEP 2020 is talking about. Well, if you see in the document, they talk about the fundamental principle. So the first requirement is that they want that profiling of the students. If you see the language, recognizing, identifying, fostering the unique capability of each student. In a country like ours, huge number of students, recognizing the individual strength of a student and giving him the right kind of platform to explore, to become a artist, become a musician, become an engineer. So this is a big challenge, but definitely the document is looking forward to that. Then teachers, as you know, teachers and parents must be part of this holistic development, both academic and non-academic of the students. If you see our time, education was the first priority. In during my school days, college days, I was a very good cricketer. Let me tell you, ये IPL होता तो शायद मैं आज IPL का player बन के khelta. Honestly, I was really a good cricketer. But when it comes to the like searching for a job, absolutely there was no scope that कि कहीं आप इंडियन टीम में जाओगे कभी नौकरी मिलेगा. So obviously parents they insist you कि नहीं भाई अच्छे से पढ़ाई करो and get a job for yourself. But now the education policy is talking about no. If you have to grow the kids, the parents teachers should support and there should be holistic. Even if he is expert in non-academic area, you must allow the non-academic areas to grow also because they are opening up the avenues. That time the avenues were limited. Obviously, the parents will not take risks. Now the risk taking is more and avenues are opening up. In fact, we have a colleague here whose son did mechanical engineering from Punjab Engineering College in production, and here in manufacturing he did his master degree. Opened a studio, musical studio in Mali, and he's my colleague. He's a professor here, you know, madam. And his mother is a superintendent engineer in this Bakra dam. So mother is engineer, father is engineer. This fellow is also engineer, but he has opened up a musical studio and he's composing music. And initially, his father told he go to US or UK. Only son, no daughter, only one son. He told no, no, no. Then his father was adamant. He told 6 months तक rent दूंगा, उसका बाद rent नहीं दूंगा. But few days back I was talking. He told rent वो मेरे को मांगता नहीं, वो rent दे के मेरे को भी कभी कभी gift ला के देता है. He has started earning. So if this person 4 year engineering plus 2, 6 year he has lost in mechanical. If he would have been electronics or computer science, he would have. But once I was talking how much mechanical is helping, he told uncle engineering analytics तो help करता है and कुछ mechanical thing भी मुझे वहाँ help करता है, but not too much. He could have been better up in if he would have been some other years. So that is what I am telling, that sometimes the parents we don't permit, but students they have a real challenge to face and they are doing like flexibility. So that flexibility is one of the part. You cannot make it a rigid boundary, and there has to be a combination. Like I when I was in US, I used to say that lot of integration between medical colleges, the other colleges, and our electrical engineering department. Lot of means seamless type of collaborations which we used to see there. Now this country is at least going for this type of collaboration, which will help definitely. Multidisciplinary holistic education बार बार ये सब आएगा थोड़ा, you have to bear with me. Emphasis on conceptual understanding, creativity, critical thinking, ethics and values. These are the things. Then liberty, responsibility, promoting multilingualism, focus on regular formative assessment, extensive use of technology, respect for diversity and respect for local context in curriculum. So this is very challenging. It is very easy to write this type of terminology, but bringing a content for that diversity at the importance of the local content, because he was handling Haryana government thing. Always we used to struggle कि 20% local देना है, 80% बाहर का देना है, so that our students are not simply in Haryana, but they have to also go out. So how to balance that 20%, 80%, 85% or 15%? It was always a tough job for making a curriculum, but now they are telling that you have to look into that. So somewhere these subjects are, these are already I've told you. I can skip this part. Certain things which I see that which can be discussed, I'll discuss more on this. They talk quality education must be the basic rights of every children, and every child must demand for that. Substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public private partnership, it has to be done, so that the even the public private partnership or the private philanthropic approach is happening. It should not be in commercial mind, it should be in a mind to help the quality education of this country. And there is a vision of this policy, there is a fundamental principle and the vision. If you see in that document, they talk about the visions and there are certain points in that. An education system rooted in India ethos that contributes directly to transforming India, that is Bharat's substantive and equitable vibrant knowledge society, which as a abstract I had given you in the beginning, by providing high quality education to all and thereby making India a global knowledge superpower. So basically if you see, the ultimate aim is to become a superpower, the Vishwa Guru, what our Honorable Prime Minister repeatedly told, to reach to that stage, we have to transfer ourselves. Once the transformation is there, then we can create a vibrant knowledge-based society. Then also the feeling of Indians that having a pride for yourself that I am the Indian. Oh, that is also is required. Unless you have that insight, then your contribution for your country will not be there. So somewhere, even even if you are serving in another country, you are in another country, but always अपना मदरलैंड के लिए जो रेस्पेक्ट जो कंट्रीब्यूशन करने का जो insight रहता है, if you can do that, definitely this is going to help. So then now the colleges and university they talk about quality. So this is the quality component required for higher education systems. So the university and colleges are to be quality oriented. Once you are going for the quality oriented, that is the bottleneck why they are now introducing NBA at least 50% होना चाहिए. Even though you see NBA is a forced situation for you, but when we go to different institutions, because of the NBA, there is an improvement in infrastructure, there is appointment, there is appointment of technical staff, non-technical staff, and कुछ ना कुछ तो improvement हो रहा है. Unless these things are there, people will not invest on that. So even if it is 1 is to 25, 3 years requirement, but other aspects are also there. So they are trying to come up to that level. So these quality parameters are to be seen very seriously, and without quality, it is not possible. That is one of the factor which we see. The key changes already in an abstract form I have given because the PPT will be shared with you. So and institutional restructuring, consolidation. They say that the multidisciplinary institutions should get 3,000 students. Every university must have a 3,000 student. Then only they will be multidisciplinary university by 2040. And by 2030, at least certain state must have multidisciplinary higher education, either institute or colleges. But 3,000 is meant for this university. They are looking for to multidisciplinary university. So this is a target time which has been given. And if you see the vocational education, the gross enrollment, including the vocational education in higher education system, has to move from 26.3% to 50% in the next 17 years time. So almost we have now 5 years has passed. Another 12 years time we have to reach 50%, which is a big target. Almost all double. 26.3% to 50% means almost all double we have to reach that way. So that is a big target stage which has been given. I'll just leave these components and I'll share this slide. Maybe he can discuss. Then foreign universities and student activity and participation, because these are the things that ODL internationalizations already we had some discussion previous to that. Optimal learning environment support system. What they are talking is choice based credit system, and that is possible only when flexibility is there and curriculum is changed accordingly. And high quality support centers, professional academic career counseling will be there. Many of the institutes when we visit, uh, the success rate is not only passing in the examination, how your students are placing, what is the package, what is the average package, how many are get qualified, how many are entering into the master degree, how many are going for a MS degree, all those things are seen, how many are entrepreneur, all data are checked. We go for verification, we check all those things. So therefore, if you want a students to be like get qualifying, are you in a position to give him that support system to him? Did you give him some counseling, some mentoring, some faculty support for that, so that he can prepare for the competition? Suppose somebody is preparing for IS, or somebody is preparing for GRE, somebody is preparing for CAT. How the other aspects, the competitive world aspect, you are supporting them. So a lot of these support systems are coming into picture. And this counselor, having the counselor in the institute, this is also a support system. Even the sports facilities which you have created, but there is a coach for that. This is also a support system. So many such things I see in bigger institutes. Now the people have started implementing that. So the NEP 2020 is talking about more such support system for the students. And feedback is one of them. and that is the reason why I emphasize more on it. In the foreign university, if you see, they have a initial uh, this limit that the universities who are within the 100 top ranked in the world, they can come and open up their campus in India. So that is part of the document. But the policy has to get passed, and once those policies are passed, maybe you'll see that the Stanford MIT is having a campus in India. And the type of exploration, what talking to some foreign universities which I came to know, initially they are looking forward to bigger universities who are having a name and fame to collaborate with them. For example, X university is very known here, has good infrastructure. So they would like to come in, use the infrastructure and launch their program. So Stanford will not create an infrastructure of its own. They will utilize the existing infrastructure of that big name university, and gradually they will go into this. So something like that they're planning. But it may so happen that the big university may open up because Indian students outward flow is too much. So there is a mass here, so maybe good university, you'll see that there the things is possible. Similarly, we also now you might be knowing that IIT Madras is opening up a center in Sri Lanka, also in Africa. We are also going out and we are opening our own center there. Similarly, in Gulf also IITs now has started opening the center. Maybe IIT Ropar will plan to start, but the IIT Madras already has moved out to open this center outside. So we are also expanding to other countries. So other countries also will come into our place, and this the limit or the benchmark which they fixed is 100 best. If the ranking is within 100 university in world ranking, they will be permitted here. So that is one of the things which is there. Always this is a really top call. Without giving the right kind of incentives, you cannot expect a faculty to delivering the things. When you limit with a limited salary and is forced to go for other activities to feed the family, so you cannot expect all those changes. Therefore, this document is also talking about that the faculty should be given better facilities, better incentives, so that they can contribute to this system. So that is a culture needs to be established. So how this will work, time will say on this thing. This National Research Foundation, this is again a big call because this is a independent body which will give you the funding, even the seed money, and they will also look forward to industry linkage and breakthrough research. So it completed a single body in the country, which is National Research Foundation, purely for funding. Now we have Department of Science and Technology, DST, another is DBT. So many these fragmented departments, and for the same problem, just tuning the problem to a different type of topic, I get funding from this place, that place. Ultimately, nothing like that. The industry-oriented approach or socially useful products are coming up. It is not that the government is not spending money or the research funds are not released. Lot of funds are being released, but that comparison to the fund released, the products are not coming out. So now this particular foundation is going to look forward to that the money which is given is holding the right kind of results, right kind of outcome. In fact, a country like Singapore, if you see, when you submit a project, there is an evaluation team to evaluate your project, and there is a funding team to fund that. There is a third party who will see that this evaluation team is evaluating your project in time, the funding person is giving the funding on time, and this person is giving the output the way he has promised. So there is a third eye which is top of their head to watch this. This in our country, funding, once the funding is released, a PRC, that project review committee, we say, I am also part of many such committee of DST and the other organizations. So whenever 6 month time or 1 year, there will be one meeting and up in our presentation, okay, release another 15 lakhs, release another 20 lakhs. This is not the way. Actually, it has to be continuous monitoring. Therefore, this is also defense project when it is a like country's requirement. When I remember when this missiles thing were happening, though we are not knowing, we are part of the missiles research because it was so fragmentedly done in during the Agni time. I was part of the Agni one. We are not knowing. but review was every 3 months. Progress batao. And we are getting surprised. The review was supposed to be 6 months later and very aggressive review. So maybe the core committee was knowing कि ये हम लोगों को चाहिए, and we are not knowing as a researchers. We used to deliver. So that type of review, I have seen that the same thing can deliver if the review and the monitoring approach is there. So National Research Foundation will focus more on review while giving the funding. Regulatory authority, as you know, these four verticals will be the coming into picture. The first vertical is HECIC, will be the National Higher Education Regulatory Council. It will function as the common and single point regulator for the higher education sector, including teachers' education and excluding medical and legal. Medical and legal is not covered under this. The second vertical of HEIC is a meta accrediting body, like this is National Accreditation Council. So under that, you may have multiple body, but their boss will be one. Now NBA has no link with NAC. NAC has no link with NBA, but there will be one single authority under which maybe program level accreditation. So this is the SAR which will be using self-assessment report. If you are going for a institutional, this is what. So there will be certain things which will be discussing, will be coming out with this type of document. Then they believe that. In fact, one of the meeting I was hearing them, it will be more towards self-disclose. They will try to believe you what you have written, what you have submitted is correct. If you are falsifying the things and in their cross check it is found that it is falsifying, then the penalty or the punishment will be very high. So they want to come out of the everyday police type of checking. They want to believe the institution, believe the faculty, believe the system that what they are putting is in a truthful way. But if something wrong, intentional wrong is seen there, then a lot of penalty action will be there. That is one of the things which these people are talking. Then the third vertical of HA is the ground council, who is funding. So they will be funding and already regulatory. I have told. This is the fourth will be the General Education Council, which will be setting the benchmark. So benchmark type of things. So there will be four vertical, and each vertical, when these verticals outcomes, how the vertical will operate, what will be the expectation from the vertical. So when those things were discussed, the stakeholders were connected. In fact, certain verticals I was also conducted. That what is I was part of the discussion. So that is the way they also these verticals and their role, their activities have been formulated, taking stakeholder suggestions very extensively. So these four verticals, once the bill is passed, you'll get to know that it is more, and they emphasize more on leadership and governance. And leadership governance without technology support is not possible because it is so diverse now, it is so multifaceted now. So without having a dashboard in front of you, you cannot control the many of the things, because you may ask somebody and your person is not delivering, you will not remember, but if there is a reminder, you will remember that. So it is a small thing which I am giving, but technology will play a massive role of effective governance, because your transparency, you say your this digitization of payment has solved so much of corruption, so much of delay. वो कैशियर के पास खड़ा रहते, नहीं नहीं मेरा तो क्लोज हो गया विंडो, वहां से 50 रुपया देने से विंडो ओपन हो जाता था. सो इवन आई डोंट नो मीन्स यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रोविजनल सर्टिफिकेट लेने के लिए यू हैव गॉन 200 किलोमीटर थ्रू ए लोकल ट्रेन, एंड द यूनिवर्सिटी क्लर्क सेज नहीं 3 बज गया तो नहीं होगा. फिर उसके पास वो 3 बजे 5 बजे भी वो 3 बज जाता है जब. But those things is going to be is getting taken care by the digital payment. You have already paid, so things are delivered to you online. So somewhere the technology is really going to make more transparent, more effective, time bound delivery. So governance and if, these things will go. Professional education will take a different type of step, which we see. And Indian language, art, culture. Then this is what I was telling. The Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation. The IITI cell also makes extensive use of technology. Anywhere, if you see, they talk to art in its translation and interpretation effect. So even the translation and interpretation also will be more, though we use Google tools like anything, but there will be a specific institution which will interpret, and many of our Indian language will come into picture in that. So this is also proposed in this. Therefore, when I look into this NEP 2020, and I look my role as a teacher, then I see that I am going to deal with a boy who is half human, half robot. In my classroom, the student who will be entering, like in your classroom, rather, maybe another 6 year type, may not be that difficult situation for me. But when you people will be reaching to a potential year of service, you'll see that the student who is coming is technically so sound, tools wise, knowledge is. So he is a half robot and half human being. So you'll be handling that. So now you have to really be a teacher to make him as a re-human. So a smart re-human. So therefore, this rehumanization, the national education policy is looking forward to rehumanization so that our that old pride again we get back. So where it is required that the creativity, innovation, complex problem solving, smart, values, ethics, useful to society, lifelong learning, you name anything. These terminologies are very much part of the NEP document. So therefore, as a teacher, it is like a art of man making now. You will be doing the role of art of man making because these persons are not full man. They are not full human. You have to make them human with your talent giving this type of inputs. So therefore, the new role of teacher, uh, when NEP 2020 is going to be effectively implemented, is like I was telling you that don't try to teach everything and don't try to be experts. So it is like your mentoring, counseling, and teaching support, like Lord Krishna did to Arjuna, will be more effective then. Because वहाँ गांडव चला ना कृष्णा जी ट्राई करने से शायद महाभारत ओवर हो जाता है. He mentored him and realized him that you have the potential, so the individual potential has to be brought out, and to do so your counseling, mentoring, teaching support, or the support system which you will be giving along with your knowledge, all will play a vital role. So therefore now you must start thinking ki, suppose you are teaching a subject, these are the difficult units where my intervention is required. Otherwise if you see, even I have done that subject when we teach. If 8 units are there, the units which are good known to us, we take more time in that because we become popular. And the units where we are weak, वो लास्ट मोमेंट तक रखते हैं एंड असाइनमेंट देते थे, एग्जामिनेशन आ गया, ये तो टाइम पार हो गया, तुम पढ़ लेना. That is the attitude. It is a trend in the system. I should not blame any individual. Even maybe बोल रहा हूँ कि इनिशियल फेज में मैं ही करता था कि जो सब्जेक्ट अच्छे से नहीं है उसको स्टूडेंट का ऊपर डालता. But now it is time that we must focus that these are the areas where the students needs my support. ये सेल्फ लर्निंग में नहीं हो पाएगा, ये ऑनलाइन मटेरियल पढ़ के इसका अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं होगा. सो लेट मी फोकस मोर ऑन दिस, the subject where understanding is possible or creativity is possible by self learning, push that unit so that you get your extra time to devote more on this type of units. And there actually you have to play a different type of role. This is what a time management, giving more emphasis to the area where the student needs your support, not giving emphasis to those areas where student can have a self learning by self, and give them the better counseling and mentoring. That is like a Bhagwan Krishna did for Arjuna. That is the type of thing. Then only the Mahabharata war can be won, because they are going to face the Mahabharata war. Lot of competition, globalization is in a different stage. So I personally feel that. Then another challenge is Sandipan type of role. These are, you will have Sudama, you will have Bhagwan Krishna in front of you. So a person who doesn't have money to spend in technology, a person who is a king's son, has a lot of money to spend, but you cannot distinguish them. You have to give the equal opportunity. So how to give them the equal opportunity? That's why I caught this type of people, a Kamal type of people. कि भाई free open source tool लेके आओ, because everybody cannot buy. So you are the people who are computer engineer, have done PhD now in this system. You are knowing that there is a requirement. So if the students are not having the accessibility to a better technology, give them the better technology through free open source tool. So that is the role of Guru Sandipan we have to do here. So this is again another area where you have to focus more to bring more free open source tools, help them, those students who are technologically not having the accessible to a costlier things, at least they are not deprived. So that is the approach which we are intending to. Then as a teacher, actually we must teach them that we must first try to know the knowing the unknown, then unknowing the known and knowing the known. These are my terminology. Actually, as a teacher, may get involved into these things. Unless as a teacher, I explore myself as unknown. I cannot motivate or counsel my students to challenge the things which are coming in front of me. So if I am in my comfort zone, जितना जानता हूँ उतना इनको पढ़ा के छोड़ दूंगा, and they are not ready for the challenges, then I am not doing justice. So I must first explore if there is a 5G technology is coming, what are the unknown factors which I don't know till date. Let me explore that. Then only I can tell to my students that this. Similarly, knowing the unknown, even I know a thing, I should not be superficial. I should be having the deep knowledge. That is what NEP 2020 is talking. It should be deeper. Multiple subject, multiple knowledge in a deeper way. So even if you know a thing, if you are partially knowing the things, you make it sure that you know it in depth before giving him the advice or giving the consent. So comforting the critical incidents, reinforcing through system and process, imagining exciting possibility, support to the remote learner. These are many things which as a teacher which we have to play a role. Here the important thing is that change of mindset. So there is a paradigm shift. You must understand the NEP 2020 talking about a paradigm shift where the human qualities in the center of education, because NEP, what they are telling, creativity, innovation, ethics, values, ethos, these are all human characteristics. So therefore, when the education system is talking about the human qualities, not the machine qualities is secondary, human qualities to be the primary thing. So therefore, you must more focus on creativity, innovation, critical thinking, analytical skill, all those things. Learners as a change agent. So therefore, the stakeholder, we never involve our final year student in curriculum design. I personally, मैं एक दो बार इनको भी बोला हूँ कि call the final year students to get their opinion कि first year syllabus क्या होना चाहिए, second year syllabus क्या होना चाहिए. Let the final year student give their opinion. If they are giving rubbish, you have the system to throw those things. But if they are giving some real, because they are the people who face the real problem. So somewhere we must involve these learners who are the change agent to be part of our all this decision making. Then strategies, unless if I am in a position to give the purpose in front of my student correctly, कि why do you need this, if I am in a position to convince भाई ये करने से तेरे को इतना बड़ा गूगल वाला पैकेज तेरे को मिल जाएगा, he will definitely try his level best to understand. But unless I create a purpose in front of them, आज का जो generation है 21st century generation, they will not accept it. They are not. So all those things, the as a teacher, the classroom thing should be more focused, giving them a right kind of focus. Then collaboration is a requirement that will reduce the cost of learning, and there has to be a balance between technical and non-technical content. Learning environment should be stimulating creativity, and personally I feel that engineering scenario, if it is more case studies based, I'll give you one example. Last week when we conduct a course on this, because after 10 years I became again teacher, because all these 10 years vice chancellor director intellectual clerk होके मैं काम करता था because checking the file, giving the policy decision, this that. But when I came back to my own department, the first course which I launched is outcome-based education, OBE, SAR, and NBA. Then I used a technique that everything will be case studies based. I'll discuss the case studies and conduct the quiz. So the quiz was not very difficult, but the quiz forced the participants to be attentive, because if they are not attentive and there is a limited time and this fellow will close that platform, you cannot really upload that beyond that time. And we have a statistic, though we are not disclosing that in public, that who answer, who didn't answer. But if necessity is coming, if I see that majorities are defaulted, then individual name will be called. So there is a pressure on the participants. So it is that we created a case studies based understanding for them, and I found the people who are novice, not knowing NBA, they were scoring. In fact, almost all the score were 85-90% the quiz outcome. So because analytics also is seen, so that gives a satisfaction. Yes. So I personally feel that all our this teaching approach should be more towards a learning environment where you create. If I have to teach, let's say robotics, rather than asking them to go for a robotic theory, I say go for this robot, make a robot like this. Automatically they will learn. Oh, कहीं से 100 लाके वो प्रोग्रामिंग करेंगे, कहीं से वो सिस्टम बनाएंगे. They will do that, and day night they are doing. In fact, project students are doing that. Somewhere this type of, then delivery mechanism should be more technology integrated. हम लोग सब क्लासरूम में आओ पढ़ाओ बोलने से नहीं होगा. You should be in a position to give better freedom through technology. Assessment and recognition, formal, informal, both होना चाहिए. Quality assurance should be specific criteria based. Timely monitoring and remedial action should be also there. सिर्फ, in fact, when I was trying to evaluate a NEP 2020, what type of learning network will be there? You people, those who are in computer background or even electronics background, you read computer networks. I have just created keeping that mind, because computer network is, what is that? There is a data flow. This data leads to information. Information again secured, and based on this information, applications are done. So if you see, the total scenario of the computer network is having a source and a destination. Between that, the source is creating the data. The information is, in terms of data, is reaching. It is decoded, and the information is delivered, and application is done. In our education system also, we want that the right kind of data should be given to that, information is given to that, so that the person carry that information. When the application stage comes, he is in a position to deliver that application. So I have created a learning network in that, actually. In fact, it can be a OSI model, it can be a TCP IP model. In terms of computer network language, if I talk, it can be a 5-layer network, it can be a 7-layer network. When I see the first year is more towards the foundation layer. We give foundation subject there. We build their foundation for the next level. So here the in-house faculty and the champion professor who are available in the MOOCs can be utilized. But when it comes to the fundamental layer, when it is comes to the foundation layer of that particular engineering, which is more or less in second year curriculum, then you must bring the champion professors. Fundamental is more towards mathematics, science, engineering, science, and physics. So their in-house faculties and MOOCs material is good for that. But when it is a foundation of that particular discipline, which is linking to the multidisciplinary, then you have to really bring champion professors, and where if required, maybe the online they should be connected. Then third year, if you see, these people, they get into the software, start working on that. I name this as a skilling layer. थोड़ा बहुत engineering knowledge आ गया है, and they try to skill themselves. So this is a third layer where the institute expertise and outside expertise should be blended to give them that type of skilling layer. Fourth year, mein, they are more towards application. They will go to internship, use this skilling and knowledge what you have given them. They will try to apply. So the application layer should be more with the professional group, because application is more market driven, more industry driven, and we as faculty, though we are good at foundation, we are good at fundamental, we are application wise, we are not that well day to day basis working with them. But those professionals or those industry experts who are day to day, they are dealing with the application, they should be the teacher, they should be the provider of information to the. So therefore the fourth layer or the fourth year should be more towards hiring the professionals group, professional trainers, professional experts, so that they do. And after that, the innovation and invention layer, or the master degree and PhD degree. So if you add this, if you see, this can be well defined in terms of a TCPI model of 5-layer, or it can be decided in terms of a OSI model of 7-layer. In fact, those who are good at computer networking, having an architecture idea, they can write a good paper in this. So this is a good learning network paper you can generate out of this. Let me tell you. Now, so many things individually it is not possible. So the new approach is that make partners and networking. Unless you make partners and networking, NEP 2020 implementation will be difficult. So the partnering is that partnering is always strengthening yourself. Networking is creating wealth for yourself, and empowerment, that is already autonomy we are talking. So it is, so unless we do clustering, this ABC which they are talking, a private engineering college student cannot be accepted in IITs. But among the IITs, if I have a choice, in Kharagpur I got, let's say, this much of credit. They say that 60% credit, if I remember correctly, 15 or 60% from the that particular institute, which will give you the degree. So you get that. Then I see that the advanced level credit which I want to earn, Kharagpur is not good, but IIT Madras is good. Then I take the option of IIT Madras and get it. So like that, those partnering networking approach is required. Similarly, in this locality, who are equal-minded or your type of partners, so they can be partner and networking of the facilities. Like in Chandigarh, we have a creek. All good institutes are part of the network. So a college students of Punjab Engineering College, who is nearby in our place, you might have heard of, they can utilize my facilities, this institute facilities. This institute students can go to Punjab University, they can utilize this their laboratory facility. So that networking has helped to create a better wealth. The student who is now deprived of certain equipment, it is available in other institute, he is using. So therefore, the partnership and networking is a requirement of the time. And the take the key changing factors: augmented reality, your Internet of Things, virtual reality, cloud, big data, autonomous system. These are all these maybe the buzzword of the technology, but without that, it is not possible. And also, cyber security is a requirement. So, cyber physical integration, which is happening through the means, even if you are not there, you are in a position to access the lab, the equipment. Those type of cyber physical integration is happening, and the way country is going with the OFC network. You know, like I was going through the speech of Mukesh Ambani, who has taken the responsibility of putting the OFC in UP. He has told that all each corner of UP by 23 December will be totally connected with optical fibers. So if a village of UP is with a optical fiber, then what is the problem of having a cyber physical interface from Chandigarh? Easily I can reach to them, even physically. I'm not going, I'll be in a position to do that. So there is a lot of things happening in this direction. So I personally feel that there is a lot of scope. That is the reason we in this place decided that to give you some exposure in the area called augmented reality, virtual reality, whatever, and they are in a position to do. And you may not invest this much of money like what I am showing as a studio in front of you, because it is a old format studio which we created and we now modernized that. And it is almost all 2600 square feet studio. It's a very big studio in this particular department. But what I am meaning is that you have to really strengthen yourself with your digital infrastructure. The required software, the required handset, the required hardware are to be procured. You must invest in that, and there has to be an upgradation plan in that, and there has to be a budget for that. So, unless the digital infrastructure is strengthened, your NEP 2020 implementation in that matter effective or quality higher education is not feasible. So, therefore, this is another area where you have to focus. Then it is not only the knowledge, you have to really bring your students to hands-on skilling. So therefore, if you remember, we have a session on virtual laboratory because we want project-based learning to happen with the support of virtual laboratory. Then live laboratory already you are having, but those live laboratory which I am talking, it should lead to work-based learning, means they should be industry. They should be put in industry to conduct that laboratory. Even when I say industry, not necessarily के पास वाला जो industry में जाना है. If you can be your academic institute is developing product, let's say educational product you are developing, ERP you are developing, and a company is associated, a startup group is associated with you, they are working. These people should be put in that work group, so that the work based learning should happen. It is not only project based, it has to be work based. And reflective practices like peers assessment, self assessment should be followed, because the first year laboratory classes or the first year student should be assessed by his senior, so that senior also gets some input, senior learns and senior delivers. So that is the then learning access plan should be very clear, no ambiguity. Digital infrastructure, mainly the system and tools should be in place. Collaboration and networking will lead to the extension, because you are talking about online, you are talking about ODL, you are talking about reaching out to the remote student, you are talking about the 3000 student in the campus. All those things cannot happen without collaboration and networking, because the MIT coursework, when it started, the MIT coursework was having a fundamental basis. The president of the MIT, when he was delivering the graduation presidential address, his address, it is there in the MIT site, the president address, one of the president address you can see. He gave us talk in this line that our undergraduate income is reducing. Therefore, to support the higher and research, the undergraduate incomes are to be improved. That means number of students are to be increased, and only a online approach will help. Therefore, start preparing your MIT courseware so that with MIT courseware we'll launch some online courses. So they planned and they prepared their own courseware, and with that they went to MIT online class and lot of funding they managed like that. So therefore, the collaboration, networking, digital infrastructure, these are the then this is another very important things. I'll not talk the Bloom's taxonomy here, but I would, as a faculty, I would like to tell you that when unitized way of delivering you are doing, first gauge the intensity level. If the and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is Bloom's level only I kept there. If you are seeing that you are in a Bloom's level of 4, your time of commitment will be different. If you are in the level of 1, just memorizing, your time of commitment will be different. You have to really replan this, that what should be the time of commitments for Bloom's taxonomy. So that's the way you have to. And what is the type of learning experience which you want to introduce in that particular level? So if I have a level 4 or level 3, I'm talking in terms of Bloom's in that particular unit, my learning experience will be different than what the level 1 I. Level 1 I have to just memorize the thing. But level 3, level 4, level 5, or higher level, my learning experience will be different. So you as a teacher, you must understand. So sometimes you'll feel that this learning experience is not possible by just self-learning or by individual. So you have to create a groups. So sometimes the difficult, like level 4, you are dealing. Level 4, a single boy, if you are asking him to go for this thing, it is not possible. So therefore, you may create a group, a peer groups of 3, where one good student, another 2 average students are put. So those type of group networking, collaborative. This is lot of homework for teacher. When you really plan a course plan, lot of this type of things you have to keep in your mind. For this particular unit, it will not be individual assessment assignment. It should be group assignment. For this particular unit, it will be individual assignment. So like that, you sell group, network, collaborative, and some cases like project. If a student is having a friend in NIT and another friend in IIT, and he is here, and they plan to go for a project, so this project should be permitted, so that he gets his support, and they divide their work. When he is assessed in your institute, he is assessed for his contribution. Another institute, now also you are doing that. 3 people in one project. Why can't you allow the collaborative and network project with the other institute? So these type of things also to be possible. Now certain attributes are to be seen, that tasks and engaging the class assessment, also to be needed. Psychometric test has to be done, and like rubrics. When it is a project based assessment, or the project things you are assessing, and many such subjective things you are assessing, creating a rubrics way of assessment is important. You cannot go for a numerical way ki, this mark hai to main de dunga, but you have to create rubrics equivalent to, and put a equivalent numerics for that, so that right kind of mapping is done. So creating rubrics for this subjective assessment also is very important, and this is what I would like to. So implement the spirit and intent of the policy of NEP 2020, implement policy initiative in phased manner, prioritize and optimize sequencing the policy points, comprehensive in implementation, planning, joint monitoring, collaboration, timely infusion. So my approach is that when I prepared this slide, I was talking in terms of my own way. You forecast, create a task force, cluster the activities, and go for a brainstorming workshop in your own organization, then have a mentoring session, fix the timeline, create a review committee, analyze the review report, and give the support for remedial action. Then only the NEP 2020 can have a effective implementation in a limited time. So these are the, as a administrator that time I had created this my for myself, I had created that how should I help the institute to implement NEP 2020. So that is the way I created this document, and you can also think as an individual you have to also focus this thing. This I think is too much of theory and too much of talk in this. because this is not a subject where I can give you a lot of examples and but implementation time, some of my brain, my thought process I'll bring in front of you. So we have another 15-20 minutes for any interaction. If you have some questions or anything to be, even the remote participants, if you want to ask any questions, you are now open for this discussion. If you have any doubt, whatever knowledge I have gathered, so I'll share with you.